Tony Gonzalez from Made in Metal. You saw me. I was walking and saw Kenny Lekremo in the hotel, and I came here. Kenny, how are you?
Great. I'm very well. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Yes, well, everything is just fine. Sitting here in this beautiful hotel and just kicking off some interviews. Yeah, it's great. We got a new album coming up, so I couldn't be more excited.
A new album.
Yes.
I imagine that you were here because you were part of the Avantasia project last weekend.
Yes.
Here in Madrid.
Yes, well, of course. I mean, it's part of the reason why I'm here. We had a great concert just a couple of days ago. It was great. Had a great time, and of course, I mean, we took the opportunity to turn this into, you know, like a time where we get to connect with different people and do some interviews and see people in person. Earlier today, I was joined by Crash, but he had to go back home. But we've been basically just talking to a lot of different people, wonderful people such as yourself. Talking about the new album and the release and you know, the concert in here in Madrid on the 23rd of May. So yeah, it's all good and we're having a good time. I'm going to be here the whole day basically. I'm gonna
Okay. So you give me all the details in only one question. But first, let me ask you first. How did you were part of the Avantasia project? Because this new recording is not the first, is the second that you work, the second time you work with Avantasia. Tell me, how did you make this contact? How is the experience?
Well, I mean, the experience with Avantasia is really a special one for me because I have worked, you know, the band H.E.A.T. We played with H.E.A.T in 2008. They took us out on our first European tour. And so we got to know Tobias Sammet quite early, you know, and he believed in us as a band, H.E.A.T. He wanted to take us on tour. So many years later, obviously, I was asked the question to join Avantasia, which was, for me, I mean, like, of course. It's in the years that I wasn't a part of H.E.A.T, many people always asked me, Kenny, if there was another project or anything that you would like to do that wasn't H.E.A.T, what would it be? And I almost always kind of jokingly always said, like, well, Avantasia, like, why not? That would be great. And then it comes, you know, then it happens. We talked about that before, you know, me and Toby and stuff, but we never made anything come true. And then, of course, he asked me, what is it, year and a half ago, I think it was. And I mean, how could I say no? It's a great gig, fantastic people, and I mean, I trust Tobias Sammet. He is responsible for so much success as well that we had with H.E.A.T, because when we went on tour with H.E.A.T, that opened a lot of doors for us as a band in the early career of H.E.A.T. So for me to be in Avantasia is like coming full circle, you know? It's a fantastic opportunity. And I love to sing the songs. And I love to be a part of it. It's a great compliment to H.E.A.T as well, because the music of Avantasia is still, you know, is still different enough that it's kind of like a different challenge for me, which I find great. You know, it's a pleasure. It's a great pleasure.
So the new recording is called Welcome to the Future. But Kenny, I listened to the new CD. And I feel a little afraid because the new recording have strong changes in the music of H.E.A.T, according to me. Yeah, I think that have strong changes. Okay. And what is the meaning of Welcome to the Future? That from the new recording on, the band will be changing again?
Well, I mean, it's like we Welcome to the Future is more like it's a way to express the direction of the album itself. So when you think back to the 60s, and people would imagine flying cars, People would imagine human teleportation, time traveling, all kinds of weird shit, right? Well, there's a lot of that we have today that you just don't think about. Like earlier today, I was sitting here, I was doing an interview on the phone, you know, we're looking at each other on the phone like this. We just take it for granted. We don't even think about what that means, you know, the technology behind that. We're just like, yeah, I'm here, you're there. It's crazy. Okay, we don't have flying cars, but I think that's for safety reasons. I mean, come on. It would be imagine everyone flying around in cars. That would be crazy, right? Maybe in the future they're going to have that anyway. I don't know. We're not still there, yo. But Welcome to the Future is a bit like that. It's us imagining that we are living in that future that was imagined once upon a time. It's a filter through, you know, the music, the music of the 80s. You know, you have this moment in time when human ability meets technology, right? And it's a kind of style that we all celebrate. And Welcome to the Future is like an expression of all of these ideas that were expressed back then, how they would imagine the future. And we are basically just saying we are living in the future. Like, this is where we are. So, musically, how do you put that into music? Well, we tried, and it's there. And the tracks are on an album, and it's called Welcome to the Future.
But let me tell you something. Yes, if somebody watch this interview and take the set list of the new recording and discover that the first song is Disaster, they say, wow, Kenny decided the future is a disaster.
Yeah, but I mean, for some people it is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And for us, it's definitely not a disaster. It's just the song is called Disaster because it's the dystopian nature of that song. It talks about a very specific subject that we're all living through right now. You know, we have a lot of sensational journalism, people screaming off of rooftops that the world is burning and everything is shit, and people are living on their phones and playing video games all day, and someone on the street is saying everything is gonna explode. I mean, it's like, it's so crazy right now. How can you live like this? Well, you can't. And it's the topic of the song Disaster touches on these subjects a little bit, and I think it's quite fitting to open the album Welcome to the Future with a song like Disaster, because it's quite a bold statement. So listen to the song once again and take in the lyrics and see if you can understand or make sense of what I just said.
Yes. So, for example, Disaster is an example of this that I told you previously, that I consider that this recording have several changes. And one of them is that now, more than ever, according to me, maybe I'm wrong, more than ever, the songs are more focused on choirs. Do you think, am I wrong?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's always going to change a little bit for us. We are always taken into different places musically, depending on like where we are and what we're doing. And I think that it's probably just it wasn't intentional or anything like that. Whether it was going to be more choirs or less choirs, I don't know. But one thing is for sure, everyone in the band sings a lot more now than ever. Like, not just me, but everyone. Like, like Dave loves to sing, Jonah loves to sing, Jimmy loves to sing, Crash has a mic, he loves to sing. Like, we're not Eagles, we're not fucking Eagles or anything like that, you know, we're not. But everyone just likes to sing and be a part of the vocal effort. So we have to try to see how we incorporate that into our songs. This time around, we didn't really think about that too much. We just did whatever felt good in the moment. And I guess it's something that's gonna change depending on the album. You know, it's a bit like today I like coffee with milk. Tomorrow I like black coffee. It'll depend a little bit on the time, I think, for us, you know. So it's definitely not a formula, you know. It's just it's a flavor of the month or flavor of the year.
Yes. So I remember that in 2018 you recorded a solo album called Spectra.
Yes.
Yes. I was there in between jobs. Between H.E.A.T and H.E.A.T.
Ah, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, it was your recording. And I would like to ask you how Spectra changed your point of view to assume the second chapter in H.E.A.T.
Well, Spectra, that album is directly a diary of my life outside of the band. It's part of the reason why it sounds the way it does as well. It was going to be impossible for me to put into words or a novel, if you would say, the story of things that I've gone through in my life, challenges, all kinds of stuff, without putting it into music. You know, I really wanted to do that. Actually, it wasn't so much that I really wanted to do that. You know, Spectra was probably very close to not being released at all, because it was something that I did for me personally. I needed to do that. It's a bit like, I'm sure you know people, when the day has passed, they sit down and they write, today I met up with this friend and we had a blah 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 tostada and I went to my work and Jose was angry with me and like people do this, right? So Spectra is that for me, but over many years outside of the band. I sing about the band, I sing about relationships, I sing about, you know, health challenges. And Spectra was just like that. It was very private. It wasn't until friends of mine basically told me, Kenny, what the fuck are you doing? Just release this so people can have a chance at hearing something about your experiences outside of H.E.A.T. Because when I left H.E.A.T, I left music for a while. Because for me, when I wasn't in H.E.A.T, without H.E.A.T, there was no, my connection with music wasn't the same. I didn't really want to write music. I didn't really feel like I wanted to connect with it. It wasn't until a few years after I left H.E.A.T when I started reconnecting with Dave, you know, and we started writing music together again. And he helped me out on some of this stuff that you hear with Spectra, because I play most of that stuff myself, you know, piano, the Rhodes, guitars, and then basically Dave wanted to help me to, and for me he's a big part of my life, you know. We've been brothers for a long time, you know, like the rest of the guys in H.E.A.T. It just so happened that our relationship, we always kept in touch. We never, you know, fell out of touch. I think it was a very good thing to happen, because in the end, the rest of the guys in the band, they heard Spectra, they connected with it, and they knew that I was still doing music to some aspect. So when Eric Grönvall, when he said, I don't want to be a part of H.E.A.T anymore, then the guys were like, okay, we know who to call. He's probably, you know, he's ready. Like he can do this. He wants to do this. And I think that Spectra was a part of that message.
Perfect. Let me confess you that when two recordings before this, I have a conversation with Jonah T, and I ask you, why did you take Kenny Lekremo again and not another singer.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like Kenny was the only option that I really felt like approaching, and also I knew he would be interested in joining the band again because he insinuated it to me earlier, and so it was kind of an easy process really to get him back on track. You could tell he was very excited when he finally got the answer. Oh, the question.
And he told me something that is really almost the same that you were always in contact, and you were better, and you were the perfect brick to match in the wall. Yes.
I mean we are we in some ways we kind of grew up together, you know, like musically, and as friends, because we met when we were, you know, 15, 16. You know, it's like you're very young when you're 15, 16, you know, mentally, musically. So we developed together, you know, we discovered melodic rock together, AOR. We were a bunch of metalheads to begin with. We, you know, like me, and the way I met Jonah and Dave, for example, was for our shared passion for Iron Maiden. That is how we met, you know, that's how we started hanging out. So when we started listening to things like Survivor and, you know, Journey and stuff like that, we, you know, when we were like, you know, 18, 19, and it was like, oh, wow, this is really cool. And because it was like, it was like meeting a new person, you know? And so it was only natural that the first album was going to be very like AOR, melodic inspired, right? But underneath all of that, we were always like a hard rock band. We always wanted to come out on stage and be like metal gods, you know, because that's where we came from. So, you know, as you know, the history with H.E.A.T's music has been developing for quite a lot of years. You know, we went from our first albums, which has quite a lot of AOR in it, and then it's been developing over time, and it's gone through more hard rock, sometimes heavy metal, and we're still like this, because H.E.A.T is the essence of that. H.E.A.T isn't just one genre, one style. H.E.A.T is a mix between all of the styles. And if the day ever came, which I really fucking hope it doesn't, if the day ever came and someone said, H.E.A.T is just this, that's the day when the sound of H.E.A.T dies. Yeah. So, and that's that.
Kenny, let me confess you that to me you look like Bruce Dickinson, Power Slave era.
Ah, yeah, Power Slave, yeah. That's a good era.
And now that you mentioned that you were Iron Maiden fan, am I the first person who tell you this?
Yeah, you are. No, I know. But I think it's easy to draw that parallel as well. I mean, Iron Maiden is something that, you know, I grew up listening to. It was the first introduction for me, like, into rock music, because when I grew up, when I was a kid, my parents, sure, there was a little bit of rock, but not hard rock, and certainly not heavy metal. I mean, the closest thing to rock I was exposed to was maybe I was made to love you, baby. I was exposed to maybe some Elvis and stuff like that. So when I discovered Iron Maiden, you know, I was like 12, 13. Went to a friend's house. None of us listened to heavy metal or hard rock, and we were like, we're gonna play an LP. What should we play? Pick the coolest looking LP. And of course, it was the yellow-haired Eddie in front of a brick wall, you know, standing there looking fucking crazy. And we put it on, dropped the needle, because it was an LP, dropped the needle, and on comes Transylvania, and my mind just... I was like, from that moment, how do I get involved in this? I have to do something. I don't know what, I have to do something. So the first thing I did was I knew that there was a drum kit in a place close to where I lived, like a youth culture center. So I just went there and I was like, I'll do whatever it takes to play this drum kit every day for hours and hours and hours, because all I wanted to do was to play music like Iron Maiden. So that's how I started. So when you say, oh, you look a bit like Bruce Dickinson, you know, World Slavery Tour or Power Slave Era, I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess maybe I have some similarities in some, you know, the hair. I don't know if it's I don't know, but it's like the Maiden is such a huge part of me musically. That's how I begun with music, and lots of my friends too. You know, I'm from Sweden. We fucking love Maiden. Yeah.
So it's a problem of blood. If you test your blood, you will be that you have metal in your blood.
Well, maybe, yeah. In fact, probably, yes. Yeah. Absolutely, yes.
So let me tell you something. This not more than a question and a statement. I have a fan in YouTube, in my YouTube channel, that maybe she's in love of Jimmy J, because every time that I publish an interview from H.E.A.T, she asked me, why don't you interview Jimmy J? Ah. So when Lorenzo called me and tell me, Kenny Lekremo is waiting for you for an interview, I say, now when she see the Kenny Lekremo interview on YouTube, she will say, no, you don't believe in me. Why? So my question is, why I am interviewing you and not Jimmy J?
Well, that's just, I mean, it's really accidental. It could have been Jimmy. He could have been sitting here, for sure. But you know, I was in town, and it was kind of easier that way. And as you know, with all these things, you know, schedules are always tight, and it takes a few hours to fly from Stockholm down to Madrid, and, you know, it's a few things that has to come into play. I was in town, so you get me. That's what you get. Yeah.
Woman, I promise you that in the next concert here in Madrid, I will try to interview Jimmy J. So please don't be angry with us, okay? No, I will do it. I will do it. Okay. Perfect. So, Kenny, are you living here in Spain?
Yeah, I mean, partially. Yeah. It's a bit difficult because, as a touring musician, especially when your band is Swedish, I'm obviously from Sweden, but I play with the guys. We rehearse together in Stockholm, and then I spend a lot of my time in Spain, of course. But then the rest of it, I tour. So, I mean, just now, I haven't been anywhere but on the road for the past. I mean, I have basically had vacation time for about 6 or 7 days since January. So, yeah, where do you live? I mean, it's wherever I have my bag is where I live right now.
I saw that your bag is there.
Yeah. So it's been pretty tough, but I am so thankful and so happy to be able to live this life. You know, it's when you grow up and you want to be playing music for a living and to tour the world and stuff, you know. And it's hard. Of course it's difficult. You're not home that much some parts of the year, and it's a challenge. But at the same time, I'm living the dream I always wanted, so I couldn't be happier. Yeah.
Me too. This is my dream.
Yes.
Talking to you and good musicians that made my life easier.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's
yes.
Great. Yeah.
Yes. So, Kenny, to finish the interview, can you tell us the name of the recording, where it's going to be released, and the concert in Madrid, Spain?
We're going to record the whole concert the 23rd of May.
Yes?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
Okay. So it's going to be recorded in both audio and video. And it's going to be probably the biggest show that H.E.A.T has ever put on. It's going to be really special. And we got a couple of surprises as well, which I'm going to keep to myself, because otherwise there wouldn't be surprises. All I can say is, if you don't have a ticket and you want to go and be a part of that, then you have to act now, because otherwise you're going to miss it. And don't come crying to me if you missed it. You know, it's going to be a great show, and it's like the ultimate H.E.A.T fiesta. Yeah.
Okay, Kenny, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
I hope you enjoy my interview.
Yes, of course. It's great. Thank you very much.